Love is what we belong to. Love is our deepest prayer. Love is what we are made of. Love is what we belong to. Love is our deepest prayer. Love. Love is what we are made of. Love is what we belong to. Love is our deepest prayer. Love is what we are made of. Love is what we belong to. Love is our deepest prayer. Love is what we are made of. Love is what we belong to. Love is our deepest prayer. Love. 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 Love is what we are made of. Love is what we belong to. Love is our deepest prayer. Love is what we are made of. Love is what we belong to. Love is our deepest prayer. day. Open my heart to live your way. Teach me to hear your voice. Open my mind to the freedom of choice. Spirit, guide my day. Open my heart to live your way. Teach me to hear your voice. Open my mind to the freedom of choice. Spirit, guide my day and open my heart to live your way. Teach me to hear your voice. Open my mind to the freedom of choice. Spirit, guide my day and open my heart to live your way. Teach me to hear your voice and open my mind to the freedom of choice. Spirit, guide my day and open my heart to live your way. Teach me to hear your voice and open my mind to the freedom of choice.
Happy to have you here. We are connected now, and we are so happy to be here, connected with our production team as well as connected with Spirit. So happy to be here. Welcome all of you that are here as well as all of you online. We have an incredible service in store for today, one that is rich in meaning and truth. So thank you for joining us, and we'd like to start each day, each service with a little music. Bodhi is back, and Georgia is backing him up. So let's welcome.
Please sing along with us.
Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. Love. Thank you for this love, Spirit. Thank you for this love. Thank you for this love, Spirit. Thank you for this love. This healing, this healing, this healing love. This healing, this healing, this healing love. Joy. Thank you for this joy, Spirit. Thank you for this joy. Thank you for this joy, Spirit. Thank you for this joy. This healing, this healing, this healing joy. This healing, this healing, this healing joy. Peace. Thank you for this peace, Spirit. Thank you for this peace. Thank you for this peace, Spirit. Thank you for this peace. This healing, this healing, this healing peace. This healing, this healing, this healing peace. Hey. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. Sing it out. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. This healing, this healing, this healing 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 day. Healing day. We are in it. Woo!
Yeah. Thank you, Bodhi. Thank you, Georgia. Great way to get us started today. We also like to start each service with our vision and mission statement. So if you'll look up on the screen, oops, it's already there, and read with me. We are an inclusive community for spiritual growth and compassionate action. And our mission statement, we are co-creating a world that works for everyone by living intentionally, loving unconditionally, and seeing God in all people and all faiths. Just a glorious affirmation, and really came to truth yesterday with a couple events. But let me just start today. We have been celebrating and remembering Black History Month this February. And I wanted to start with a couple quotes that I think really touched my heart. And I just wanted to share them with you this morning by a couple of Black female authors. And the first one, Audra Lorde, who was this amazing activist. You don't know much about her. I really recommend you reading about her. But her statement is, if you are free, you need to free somebody else. And for me, that's just a powerful statement about, for me, from a place of privilege, that maybe I don't know how much freedom I have sometimes. I compare my privilege to my height, that I don't really notice my height until I'm around somebody that's taller than I am. And other people notice it, though. Other people notice that privilege, notice that, and so I need to be aware of the privilege that I am blessed with and be able to share the blessings I have with other people, my freedom, my not being discriminated against, not feeling like when a police car pulls me over that there's some problem. I remember in Denver, I got a ticket for something rather silly, I thought, and I was letting the officer all that I thought about it. Not in all, no four-letter words, but I was really frustrated that he gave me, it's a long story that I don't need to go into, but it was an unnecessary ticket. I wasn't speeding. And then as the policeman drove away and I had my ticket in my hand, I thought, boy, if I was a Black person, I would have never done that. I just would have said, thank you very much. And usually I do that. I've done that with speeding. When I'm really guilty of something, I'll go, thank you for serving. But I just think of that, that freedom. And the other quote is by Toni Morrison, who says that when you are free, you need to help somebody else be free. And I think I mixed up those quotes, didn't I? All right, so let me go back to Audra Lorde, who's really said, you do not have to be me in order for us to fight alongside each other. So that's the advocacy of people. We don't have to be part of a marginalized group in order to be standing up and standing with. And yesterday, I don't know how many people heard about it. It was in the paper, as well as many people I know live in that area around Fuller Park. But there were some baggies of anti-Semitic information put in baggies with rice, and somebody threw them out of the cars they were going by, but very near the Congregation Beth Shalom, our local synagogue. So that was Thursday morning, and very short notice, a group called Rainbow Action Network and Congregation Beth Shalom teamed together to put together a Saturday afternoon program called Chalk for Justice. And we gathered yesterday, and it was a beautiful day, and many of us were there. I really appreciate how many of us showed up. About a dozen of us were there in a crowd of about 200 probably. Most people were members of the Congregation Beth Shalom who were there. But also this Rainbow Action Network was there, and there were many kids there. And Rabbi Niles, you see there speaking, he spoke for a few minutes, as well as the president of their board. And then children began to use their chalk to make statements about you belong, and kindness matters, about peace, about love. And the one that really touched me the most was this one here, that they thought they could bury us, but they didn't know we're seeds. And it shows the flowers coming up. So it was great to stand with the Jewish people there, the Jewish community, and say that we stand in solidarity that there's religious freedom here in this town and in all towns. And the other thing that brought with that also this week is we knew it was a possibility, but it was still shocking when it happened when Russia invaded Ukraine. I'm sure, as I looked out along the horizon this morning, this beautiful blue sky, I can't imagine living in a place where there were rockets coming down in different places near, and it could be at me, or planes or tanks coming in, just the fear of that. And so I invite us to know peace for the Ukraine, for all of Europe. And today we'll bring that into a prayer this morning. But right now I just want to say, as far as announcements go, we're also tomorrow night right here in the sanctuary at 5:30 going to do a peace meditation. We're going to have candles out that we're going to light for peace, and we're going to just know this peace for the Ukraine and for all of the world. And so I invite you to join us here, as well as invite neighbors and friends. There will be people from other communities coming here. All faiths are invited. It will be an interfaith peace meditation, so they're all invited. This is on our website if you want to know more information about it. But 5:30 here, there's no sign up, just show up. So come a little early. It may be full. And then speaking of peace, if you want to bring peace to your neighborhood, it's a great message right now to bring to your neighborhood, and just for you to know, for a reminder for you to know peace when you see it in your yard, that we are rotating who has this peace pole in your yard. It will be delivered to you. We have March covered, but the other months are free. So if you're interested, talk to Mary, or there's a form on the website you can fill out either way. Also today is our Spanish speaking services, which is also another way we advocate for all people, and that we know that there's something in our heart when we hear this teaching in our native language. And that's another thing, is privilege that I have, that I'm an English speaker in an mostly English-speaking world. So we think that if you know somebody who prefers, or their home language is Spanish, or they just like to hear messages in Spanish, then this is open, and there are links available to you to go to the Zoom page today at 12:30 today, or just come back here in the sanctuary at 12:30, either one. Many other announcements. Also this coming next week, Brunessa is going to be doing a workshop on forgiveness from 12 to 2 p.m. The link to register for it is online. I encourage you to be a part of that. The fee is $40. If you need a scholarship or a discount, let me know or Mary know. We can arrange that to happen. And then, I keep going backwards here. Sister Spirit, which is something we've always supported. We have several people in our community that have gone to this year. The main minister, Abigail Shire, who's spoken here before, she's in Seattle now. So the Sister Spirit is in Seattle. But Michelle just found out flights are like $49 up there right now. So a really good deal if you decide to, one way, but if you decide to go up there, register soon because registration is filling up, but it's sisterspiritretreat.org. And then save your date for May 14th for our Sip and Savor. Next week we're going to be handing out forms for donations of different kinds for the silent auction, or if you know wineries that could pour at our event or donate bottles of wine for the auction. So we'll be giving those out. But in the meantime, just save the date because it's a really important community event where we're celebrating compassionate action in the Napa Valley. Although we host it here, it's really a Napa Valley-wide event. We'll be honoring people who have been shown compassion and made a difference in the valley, like we did last year, and give awards to people for doing that. And then also we're still taking, this the last Sunday to fill, or this week is your last week to fill out this almost post-pandemic survey. We're just trying to take a sense of what you want now that it's almost post-pandemic, getting more and more reality. So what kind of classes, and we are going to restart the meditation on Wednesdays, and right now the vote has been for 5:30, a little earlier, so we're going to start it at 5:30 coming this Wednesday, and you'll hear more about that in time, but and this Wednesday we're going to do more peace prayers because that's what's being called for right now. So Monday's the bigger event, but if you just want to come, and if you've not meditated before, you can just get a sense of how to start meditation, or if you're an experienced meditator or somewhere in between, it's a good time just to gather and do group meditation on Wednesdays at 5:30. And then we'll also have coffee talk after the service, so to speak, just in the courtyard. There'll be coffee and water, whatever you like, and a few snacks, and have a chance to sit down and talk to people maybe you don't know, or talk about ideas that came up during the service. And then all of this is on our website, nvcsl.org, that and so much more. So enough of these announcements. Let's begin the contemplative part of our service now, as Bodhi does so well with his flute. I would like to invite all the practitioners, I know this is spontaneous, but all the practitioners to join me up on stage for a moment for prayers for the Ukraine. Either on stage or just in front of the stage here. So I'd just like to open us up and to speak a word of affirmation to the microphone, knowing the peace. And I'm just going to begin by playing the, and I don't think this comes through online, but I know in the room you'll be able to hear it, the singing bowl. And just bring us into this moment of oneness. I know there's only one mind, one spirit, one people. We are all connected with all of life. So we just speak our words for peace in the Ukraine.
The only thing I know, it is the peace on earth right here, right now. And so it is.
In deep knowing that right now, the people of Ukraine are coming together and knowing how supported and loved they are by their Russian neighbors themselves, the people of Russia, not the government, knowing that the government is doing something, that spirit is moving through all of us, knowing this love for people far away, and them knowing that they are supported and loved.
And I speak my word for the people of Ukraine and all the people of the world, that there is only one God and one life. And no matter what seems to be happening right now, that we are all empowered by that source of love and peace in our hearts. And we hold that to be true, and we stand for what is true. And I just bless each and every woman, man, and child in Ukraine right now for their safety and their courage, and know that we are one. So it is.
I surround all the people of Ukraine in love and light, and know from the very depth of my being that love always prevails. God is present in this situation, and it is all unfolding for the good of all. And so it is.
I speak my word for the people of the Ukraine, knowing that this energy from this bowl, that vibration is being sent to them, and all the Russians who are against this violent act, knowing that that peace, that compassion, and that empathy is uplifting each and every one of them, as that light and that vibration of that sound healing just fills their heart and soul. And I speak my word, and so it is.
just to go within and say our own prayers within our own mind for the people of Ukraine and the world for peace. In this room. And I know from this place a peace. That peace we feel within, the peace that is in this room, that it is sent out to the whole world, and especially to the people of Ukraine. We know it to be so already, and so it is.
So it is.
Thank you, practitioners, very much.
I think the bowl is still speaking, so let's go for a minute. Broken hearts and broken wings, bring it all, everything. Bring the song you fear to sing, for all is welcome here. And even if you broke your vow 1,000 times, come anyhow. Step into the power of now, all is welcome here. See the Father and the Son reunited, here they come, dancing to the sacred drum. They know they're welcome here. I see the shaman and the priest, see the beauty and the beast, singing I have been released, and I am welcome here. La la da da da, la da 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 da, la 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 la. I stood alone at the gateless gate, too drunk on love to hesitate. And to the winds I cast my fate, and the remnants of my fear. I took a deep breath and I leapt. Then I awoke as if I'd never slept. Tears of gratitude I wept, for I was welcome here. La 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la. Bring your laughter, bring your tears, your busy lives lives and your careers. Bring the pain you carried for years, for all is welcome here. Freedom's not so far away, just one price we have to pay. Live our dreams till they fade away, all is welcome here. La 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 la. All is welcome here. 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 Thank you.
That was beautiful, Bodhi. I just heard that song in a really different way this morning. You know, we usually say all are welcome here, right? But this is all is welcome. And to me, that means all of me. I mean, all of me, not just the part you see, and everything else is welcome. So all of you is welcome today. And it's a good song because we're talking about fear today, and sometimes we push away our fear. We bypass it, so we don't want to deal with it. So we just go on and pretend it's not there when in fact that's not healthy. Fear is in fact an important thing for us to pay attention to. Sometimes it happens to be real. Sometimes it is a warning for us to pay attention, and other times we still need to pay attention to it because we're making something up that we need to pay attention to that's affecting us whether we wanted to or not. So I just think that thinking about this idea that we are all welcome, because we've all had times when we've let fear or disappointment get in the way of our life or in the way of love. Or we're afraid we're not doing something right, or we did something wrong, or we're afraid to move forward, to hesitate, procrastinate. I've had so many conversations with people, just had another one this morning, but so many people, we are so used to hesitating during this pandemic, we're not sure if it's really okay to come out. If we're really able to do different things. And we're still, our CDC warning is still high, so we're not ready to be unmasked in the sanctuary just yet, but we're nearing that. I have been out and about in places where there's a number of people that are unmasked, and it's interesting just seeing people. It's so good to see people, and so I think it's still important for us to pay attention to our own, but not to what other people are saying, to our own inner guidance about what makes us healthy. Now, I mean say we're following CDC guidelines, but also we know what is right for us, and to follow our own inner guidance by that. And if we don't pay attention, fear can be a great excuse, a distraction. And we need to pay attention and be aware of the effect it has on us. So a little humor, little things about fear. I joke sometimes that I threw a boomerang and it never came back, but now I'm walking around in constant fear. Like, is it there? I had a friend who had a fear of overly intricate buildings. He had a complex. Think about that for a moment, right? I had another friend who had a fear of giants. It was called the fee-fi phobia. Fee-fi phobia. Or somebody who had an irrational fear of elevators, they're learning to take steps to avoid that. Oh, right. I have friends who are trying to organize a fear of commitment workshop. They just can't seem to agree to a date. I had a friend become a pilot, and he says, I'm able to conquer my greatest fear. And I said, oh, you mean of flying? He goes, no, of dying alone. That'll help people who really are afraid of flying, right? Some people say that death is not the most common fear. It's actually public speaking. So in other words, people would, rather than be giving the eulogy, they'd rather have the eulogy read about them. And the last one, I promise. I know. What is the fear of chainsaws called? Common sense. So there are fears that are real, and we need to pay attention to them. We don't go, oh, I'm just making up that fear about chainsaw. That's no problem. I know I grew up in Texas, and maybe it's in all states, but it seemed to be prevalent in Texas about people, young boys daring each other to do rather dangerous things, and to see if they had the courage or if they could move past their fears. But as I grew up, I found out the matters of the heart are much more scary, are much more fearful, not even though I am glad I survived through my adolescence. Becoming an adult and opening up to life, even after hurt and disappointment, to continue loving becomes a greater challenge. So this week I'm talking about the ultimate fear buster, and I'm going to use some examples from my own life, how I've been able to bust through fear, to move beyond fear. Now, if you look at this image online, it's kind of funny because the kitten is seeing a lion in the mirror, but sometimes we are the lion who sees the kitten, that we are more powerful than we realize, and it's actually our power, as Marianne Williamson would say, our power that scares us more than not being powerful. But it is fear that has the message that we are not adequate, that we are not able, that we are not worthwhile, not because it wants us to feel bad about ourselves, because it wants to keep us safe. It's the ego's way of what they think, what it thinks is best for us, and we need to rise above that and recognize what is truly best for us. Now, fear is a real bodily feeling. You can feel it in your body. You can feel a shortness of breath. You can feel increase of your heart. You can feel it in your skin. You can feel almost like sometimes you stop breathing completely. And you probably heard the biological tendency is to fight, flight, or freeze. And the problem is if we're not aware of fear in our lives, if we're not mindful of it, running from a situation, running from relationships or intimacy, being defensive as a way of life, like fighting when we feel like threatened or things get a little close intimacy-wise, or if we have a perceived threat, even though it's not a real threat, or to freeze, just be the deer in the headlights. Now, sometimes the deer in the headlights there is a car coming, so they need to move, but you need to get the sense of the situation and be aware of your response. One of my favorite quotes by Viktor Frankl, if you don't know him, he's a psychiatrist who is a Holocaust survivor. And he said this, he said, between stimulus and response, there is a space. And in that space is our power to choose our response. And in our response lies our growth and our freedom. So between the stimulus, that which scares us, and our response of fight, flight, or freeze, we have an opportunity to be conscious, to choose, and that choice is our area of growth and our freedom. To be free of these fears that are are there. Now, if you think of fear as a warning light in our car, sometimes it's real. Sometimes there's something we do need to take care of. Sometimes it's a faulty warning light. Sometimes it's our own kind of anxiety about life, concern that people are getting close, or that we're getting close, or that something's challenging, something is stretching us. In life, there are two kinds of stress. One is called a distress, which is where something is overwhelming and it's not good for our adrenaline system. It keeps it on fire, and it's a discomfort that's so stressful it's not healthy. But there's also something called eustress, which is spelled EU stress, which is the stretching we do out of our comfort zone that reaches out. We can still have fear and anxiety about it, but it's healthy to do it. It moves beyond what we think we're capable of. So we want to reach out. We want to move past that in that way. I will say that the first part of my life, fear ran my life, and my specialty, we tend to have a specialty of the fight, flight, and freeze. Mine is freeze. I don't know if you've seen this commercial on television, but it's one of these silly Geico commercials. I don't remember exactly what the thing is, but they're saying it's like playing hide and seek in the desert. Have you seen that? There's nothing in the desert to hide behind, right? So I was freezing in my life so no one would notice me, stay small. It wasn't possible to do. I was hiding in plain sight. I thought I was staying safe. People just knew I was doing it and tended to not interact with me, or didn't feel like there was a way in. Thought I was arrogant. And I was just scared. In my early 20s, so let me back up. Before my early 20s, and growing up as a child and adolescence, I had these amazing mystical experiences where I just felt one with all of life. And it scared me because I didn't know what it was. I didn't, when I talked to, my family didn't talk about this stuff. My church didn't talk about it. I talked to a youth pastor about it. They didn't know anything about it. And there was no such thing as an internet then, right? So I couldn't Google mystical experiences and find that it's been something going on for, eons. Of all faiths, there's been mystics. But I didn't know anything about it. So I was, thought something was wrong with me, And it wasn't until in my early 20s when I began to exploring spirituality, and I began to go into a New Age spiritual group where they talked about these things, and I felt at home there. And I began studying and practice and applying these spiritual principles. It's the first place I learned about affirmative prayer. And it was so powerful. And I stayed there a couple of years, and suddenly it dawned on me, the spiritual teacher, if you want to call him a guru or something, it turned out he was really manipulative, verbally critical, abusive of people. Guess what? He'd been that way all the time I'd been there, and I just chose not to see it. I was in denial about it. And suddenly it came to a screeching halt, or a screeching awareness, a epiphany, when I had a conversation with him about one of his teachings that I was in a class with him. And I talked about that with him, and it was about the observer self. And I thought what a powerful concept that was, because it was about mindfulness, and how when we had these meetings where there was a lot of criticism of each other, that maybe we could take a time out and pause a little bit and observe a little bit. And he said, I don't know what you're talking about. I never said that. And came off very defensive. And I suddenly realized this guy is not walking his talk. And then like all abusive relationships, suddenly all the information I've been denying just started coming in like a train wreck, and realized how in denial I was. And I began to doubt myself and have fear about not knowing that all this about spirituality, I had made it all up and it wasn't true. And I had fear about trusting particular teachers and other people. And this was also the year which my father died, and I had had struggles with my relationship with him. It's probably just a coincidence I had challenges with my father and with another male authority figure. That's probably just a coincidence, but we all find that truth eventually, right? And I was so in denial at that time. I got this really bad ear infection where I couldn't even hear anything, literally. Like all sounds, people's conversations sounded muffled. I'm sure that was just a coincidence too, right? So I came to this awareness. It was so difficult because I was just feeling bad about myself, about trusting myself, my own intuition, my own spirituality and everything, but I knew what I had to do. I had to leave that community, which I did. And I began just to walk through one thing at a time, one step at a time, one day at a time, and move through this fear that I had, this doubt. And what I wanted to share with you, the basics of what I learned by that. And by the way, it's not like I never feel fear. I tell you, this last 3 years, past 2.5 years during the pandemic, I felt more fear and anxiety than I felt in a long time, trying to figure that out. But I leaned into these spiritual tools. Now, not right away. It took me a moment to go, oh yeah, I should be, oh yeah, I remember what worked before. So it's a pathway we continue to walk. We apply these tools. And the first one is when we recognize fear. And like I said, it's a bodily feeling. I've done different things like when I'm in an almost car accident. You're that where your brakes are squeaking and you feel the fear in your body. You aren't hurt, but you're aware of your bodily response to being afraid. And so I just notice what it feels like in my body. So, okay, when I'm making up fear, it's going to feel the same way. I've ridden dozens of roller coasters just to get that sense because I am afraid of roller coasters, and I wanted to feel that. My wife, Michelle, is not afraid of roller coasters, which I think is interesting, but she'll be all calm and lying. I'm going, But it's to feel that, and because I want to embrace fear. I want to feel it. I want to know it when I'm in control of it, when I'm choosing fear, so I know what it feels like when I don't know it. Whether I want to, in my mind, I want to flee, I want to fight, I want to freeze. And I notice that, and I listen to it, that I don't need to run away, I don't need to freeze, I don't need to tense up, because in fact I want to be aware of these feelings. I want to know. I want to be present. Somebody in this community was telling me a story the other day. It was a great story. So she was at, speaking of Congregation Beth Shalom, I mentioned before, she was taking a class there that was a lay class, not part of their regular community, but one of their members was doing a class there. But it was a time when before, this was maybe 10 years ago, maybe 8 years ago, before they had a system of a bell to ring to come in, but about that time there were also some attacks on synagogues, so they were going to put in new security systems, but they hadn't put them in yet. So it was dark. This was during time when the class was after hours, so maybe it was 7, 8 o'clock. And what they had the system is one person from the class would wait by the door, the front door of the synagogue, and when somebody would come up, they would let them in because they wanted to keep the door locked. So they would, push the bar and let them in. And so this was my friends who's in this community's turn to be by the door. And so she's just looking out in the darkness. So there's all light inside and all darkness outside. And so, this is when synagogues were being attacked. So in the distance, in the dark, she could see a shadow moving. And it would get closer and closer. And finally, this person came up to the door and into the light, and it was her friend who told her about the class. But she didn't know that, right? So she had a reason to be afraid. And by the way, she did let her in and let her into the class. But we need to bring that fear that's in the darkness into the light. We need to be aware of what it is, to face it and embrace it. And the next thing we need to do, be willing to it. And during this time when I had left this community, I just simplified my life completely. Basically, a friend of mine was renovating a house, and so she let me stay there for a while. So I stayed in the house. Later, I got an apartment, and I just simplified my life completely so that I could walk through what was true. To be aware of this fear I had at the time and this self-doubt I had. And in that, I revealed the truth about my fears, about what was true. And this month the theme has been inner work. So this fits right into this idea that we, in a way, if you want to call it, unmasking our fears, to let them down and see what they really are and what's really true about them. Marie Curie has this great quote. Of course, she's the scientist and was all about discovering things. But of the heart, she says, nothing in life should be feared, only understood. Now is the time to understand more and to fear less. Now, we know Marie, she lived 100 years ago or more, right? 1850s or something. She made her big discoveries. There's no quote that's more attuned to right now, that now is the time to understand more and to fear less. So in revealing it, I have an inner conversation. I allow Spirit to be present with me and to reveal to me what is true. Now, I listen to my fear, but I don't ask it necessarily if the fear is real. Because my fear will always say, yes, it's real. There's real reason to be afraid. Instead, I ask my higher power, that I find that intuition, that guidance. My fear is connected to my ego, and it's always going to be about nobody wants me, I'm not needed, I'm not loved, I'm not worthy, I'm not enough. And once again, it doesn't want to do that to make us less. It wants to do that to keep us safe. And sometimes being safe is not what's in best for our growth and evolution. It's stepping out more, expanding our wings. Imelda's Spanish-speaking service, that's their theme now, is expanding our wings. And that phrase keeps coming back to me, that we can expand our wings, that it's safe to do that. Check in internally. I mean, if you're in an unhealthy relationship, there may not be spaces for you to do that. But find the space where it's okay to unfurl your wings, to be yourself, to be vulnerable and honest and loving. Find that truth of who you are. Because what's important about all of this is that we often think that when our events, people, and situations create our feelings and response in our various relationships. But the truth is, what creates our feelings and reaction is what we tell ourselves about it. And we need to be aware, Brene Brown has some great work on that, about the story we tell ourselves, to be aware of that, and be willing to be vulnerable with people, to say, hey, I need to let you know something. In this situation, I've been telling myself this story, and I just want to check out with you, is that true? And they go, oh, well, I've been telling myself this story. So you're willing. Now, that's a hard place to be. That's a very vulnerable place, but in trusting relationships, we can do that, or just relationships we're seeking to find a greater peace within it. It's a struggling thing. Mother Teresa was a quote during that time, during my time of this challenging, working through my fear. She said, I have found the paradox that if you love until it hurts, there can be no more hurt, only more love. Now, at the time I said that, oh, wait, that doesn't make any sense. What do you mean? Love until it hurts, because then there's only love left. But it's true. I mean, I'm not saying it won't hurt at all, but let the love come through. And so in that, we discover self-reliance. And self-reliance, Ralph Waldo Emerson talked about self-reliance, and a lot of people misinterpret that. That means we'll do it yourself. But self-reliance is reliance on your inner self, on your inner being, on your inner guidance. Don't let other people talk you out of that. It's not on your ego, your strength, but your inner being, your inner strength. So find that way. And what I recognized in my process is I had given my power away to this teacher. I had relied on them instead of relied on my own. And I had to refine that system within me that is the truth of who I am and how to be. This deeper connection. And finally, we want to take this fear and transform it into love. Let it open up. Now, you think of fear being an energy. I had a teacher once tell me to, if you hear a siren, and there's been a number of sirens around Napa lately, our first is a shock, right? But to take that energy and imagine it going up our spine in a spiral, to use that energy. Fear is an energy. If you look at, David Hawkins did some work on calibrating different emotions and feelings. And if you'll notice, fear is a lower vibration, but it's more energy than, say, apathy or guilt or shame. So keep moving it up that. Use that energy to move it to a higher vibration, a higher consciousness that takes us to this place where if we observe it, we can allow the curiosity to rise our vibration up, but also if we allow Spirit to reveal in us a greater gratitude, a greater love, a greater truth, and we can rise above this fear, allow it to transform in this way. Allow gratitude and love to be that which creates, that which holds on to greater levels of understanding. If we think about one of my favorite, she's actually Wiccan, but she's a great chant writer. And she wrote this chant that I think is really powerful that she does in dances in large groups. She says, "What serves life will stand, what does not will fall. The power is in our hands, love changes all." And this is what my mantra has been in Ukraine, because even though Russia has invaded Ukraine, it doesn't mean they have power over Ukraine. That in fact, the people of the Ukraine and people in Russia are standing up for freedom and for non-authoritarianism. So let's just repeat that as our affirmation today. This phrase that's on the right-hand side there. Let's say it together. What serves life will stand. What does not will fall. The power is in our hand. Love changes all. One more time. What serves life will stand. What does not will fall. The power is in our hands. Love changes all. So just take that in for a moment as we go into prayer. What serves life? What Spirit is expressing through us even when we are in fear? What serves life will stand. What does not will fall. And what I know in this moment, there is only God. There's only one. There's only one truth, one knowing, one love. And that is that which stands in our hearts, in the hearts of all people, and we know all else falls. That it happens as consciousness rises and raises on this planet. That love is more powerful than all. And we know this to be truth, and we just allow any fear we might have, any concerns we might have, any anxieties we had, to transform into love. And we also know any prayers we have for ourselves or for others in our lives, that we know love for them. We know that which they're experiencing is transformed into love in this moment and in all moments. And together we know this to be so, and so it is. On. When we have the chance to participate in the law of circulation, knowing that that which we give of time, talent, and treasures come back to us tenfold. And so we give you the opportunity today to either give online or texting. There's different ways to give, as well as participate here in our service. If you do already give by mail or by online and you're with us today, there's plastic cards out in the lobby that you can use to be a part of the physical giving into the basket in gratitude. But we ask people that the way you give is from a place of gratitude, from a place of love. And we receive this and send it back to you. So hold that which you are giving today, whether it be one of love or a financial contribution, and bring it to your heart and repeat with me. Divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, and all that I circulate. And so it is. There are baskets up front and also in the lobby.
God is the source of who I am. God is the dream of what I do. And if it's God I'm talking to, I give myself to be used by you. God is the source of who I am. God is the dream of what I do. And if it's God I'm talking to, I'll give myself to be used by you. God is the source of who I am. God is the dream of what I do. And if it's God I'm talking to, I give myself to be used by you. I give myself to be used by you. I give myself to be used by you. Yeah, use me, Lord.
Thank Beautiful today, Bodhi. So this time in our service, we welcome anybody who might be here for the first time. If you're willing to raise your hand, we'd like to acknowledge you during our service. Or if you're online first time, feel free to put in the chat box where you're from and where you're joining us. We have a gift for you. Is anybody here for the first time? Right here? So you're back again. Well, you know, there are other people I recognize in here that it's been a... I'm not gonna call out anybody, but you're not alone in this group. How about that?
I'm new today.
You are?
I'm new every time.
I knew you were gonna say
Every
that.
time.
So we like to give our blessings to all of you and all those online. So we raise our hand and read the blessing that's on the screen. We bless you today, knowing that the peace and happiness you seek is also seeking you. We honor your inner radiance as you let your light shine in the world. We are grateful for your presence in our community. And so it is. And so it is. And now the community affirmation, and then we'll let you sing. Just hold on here.
I'm just warming up the space, man.
Okay. Repeat after me. Something wonderful is happening through me right now. I am led by Spirit. I'm guided by wisdom. I am protected by love. I am here to be a blessing. I am so grateful. And so it is.
May you be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be peaceful and at ease. And may I be happy. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be well. May you be peaceful and at ease. And may you be happy. May we be filled with loving kindness. May we be well. May we be peaceful and at ease. And may we be happy. I am filled with loving kindness. I am well. I am peaceful and at ease. And I am happy.
And so it is, and so it is, and so it is. What are you going to play next?
So as we go forward, we know that we are happy and we know peace in all areas of the world. And so it is.
So it is. Around me here, there's music everywhere, and all around me here, there's music everywhere. All around me here, there's music everywhere. All around me. I do, you know that one. I did last time. I did that last time.